Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth session of this course titled Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In the last session, we dived deep into the concept of marketing funnel. We discussed about the stages of the funnel, starting with the awareness and moving downwards to the loyalty. We also discussed about key categories of metrics under the purview of marketing funnel. We looked into various examples of awareness metrics, engagement metrics, conversion metrics, lead generation and pipeline metrics, then performance metrics, and also about the satisfaction metrics. In today's session, we will deduce the concept of marketing funnel with a situation analysis. We will also calculate various metrics with hypothetical values put as per the examples. So, remember that these examples are hypothetical in nature. We are not taking examples from real world, but the data will be realistic. So, let us dive into the situation. So, what is this situation? An edtech firm trying to sell an online certification program. The scenario says that an edtech company launches a 6-month online certification program which is priced at Indian rupees 40,000. All of us know that from this COVID period, there is a surge of online courses, skill based courses. Many edtech companies are trying to sell the certification programs related to various skills. Even the edtech companies today are collaborating with the top notch universities in the world and top notch universities even in India to provide the different professionals with skill based courses. So, the context is that, and we will try to look into certain hypothetical values. So, first let us have a look at the funnel data of the situation. On the left hand side, we have the stages of the funnel, and on the right hand side, we have the corresponding numbers. So, let us consider that we started the campaign of this certification course with a social media post boosting. Let us say that the post reached a total impression of 2 lakhs views. So, all the people who are encountered with this post will not develop interest about this post. For most of them, this is not of any relevance. So, let us say only 5% of them find this post relevant and interesting. Therefore, a click through rate of 5% will bring the funnel at the number 10,000, as you can see in the second stage. So, earlier the total number of views was 2 lakhs, ad impression was 2 lakhs. Now, with a click through rate of the total website visit will be 10,000. Now, out of this 10,000 people who visits our site, only 20% considered the course for a demonstration or more information, means they are still considering this course, only 20%. So, the numbers come down to 2000. So, sign up rate is only 20%, that gives us a overall lead of 2000 persons. Rest of the 80% will just enter the site just to either they will engage in a bounce or they will spends very limited time in the site and come out of the website. Now, the marketing team will consider these 2000 people as leads and probably invite them for a webinar or may call them explaining the benefits of this course, how it stands out in the competition, what are the various career prospects you can get after completing this certification course. However, not all of them will get convinced and may consider other courses by competitors which are already in their consideration set. Ultimately, only 10% of these leads will get converted to customers. Please note that this conversion rate in today's competitive landscape is very less, and a single digit percentage conversion is also considered good. In this case, though the post boosting was targeted for 2 lakhs persons or there was a total view of 2 lakhs. How many customers we are getting at the end of the day? It is just 200, means 1 out of 1000 people who viewed the advertisement actually purchase our product. So, next let us understand the cost structure. At each of the stages of the funnel, we perform certain set of marketing activities, like sometimes we may do a boosting in the social media. In the second stage we might do a webinar. In the third stage we might do a counseling. In the fourth stage we might do a, let us say this one, free trial offer. In another stage we might do limited time offer kind of thing. Okay. So, we perform certain set of marketing activities and each activity will cost us some money. Webinar will cost us some money, content will cost us some money, then boosting in the social media will cost us some money. So, this cost needs to be taken into consideration when we calculate the ultimate return on investment from this particular marketing initiative. So, let us move to the cost structure. On the left hand side we have the cost component and on the right hand side we have the exact amount spent on the cost component. So, from this particular situation, what are the probable cost? The first cost will come in the form of digital advertisement. Let us say in Google and LinkedIn we have spent 12 lakhs rupees, boosting and other related cost. Then we will also conduct a webinar to attract the customers towards our course, to explain the benefits associated with the course. We will create certain content and that content will also, we have to probably hire a content designer, content creator, we have to hire a designer and that will cost something. So, let us say that that particular cost is 3 lakhs rupees. And whenever we try to convert the marketing qualified leads to sales qualified leads, we do a sales counseling. Our sales team will get involved in that and that will, let us say, cost us 5 lakhs rupees. So, we are just considering for the sake of understanding at this point of time, we are just considering 3 costs. One is cost from digital advertisement, webinar platform and content cost, and ultimately the sales counseling cost. So, the overall cost that is coming is 20 lakhs rupees. And by spending this 20 lakhs rupees, how much customers we have got? As we have seen in the previous slide, it is 200 customers. Now, we have to calculate a matrix which was already discussed in the previous session. That particular matrix is called customer acquisition cost. What is customer acquisition cost? Total marketing and sales related cost divided by the total number of acquired customers. Acquired means who has purchased your product. In this cost, in this particular situation, what is the total marketing and sales cost that we have calculated in the previous slide? That is 20 lakhs. And what is the total number of customers we have converted? It is 200. So, per customer the cost of marketing and sales is 10,000 rupees. How do I interpret this particular phenomenon? The firm spends Indian rupees 10,000 to acquire a single candidate for the certification course. So, this is all about the cost analysis of the marketing initiative. Now, we will also delve into the benefit analysis of the marketing initiative. So, how can I calculate the benefit in terms of revenue or in terms of profit? Let us concentrate on the how much revenue is generated and let us compare the revenue along with the associated cost. So, what is the total revenue that can be derived from this campaign? We have generated 200 customers. For each customer, the cost of the program is 40,000 rupees. So, total, what is the total revenue that is generated? It is 80 lakhs rupees. Now, let us calculate the return on investment in terms of revenue. Remember that return on investment is a relative term. Sometimes we may calculate return on investment in terms of profit, sometimes we may calculate return on investment in terms of revenue, depending on the context and depending on the purpose of calculation. So, in this particular context, let us calculate the return on investment in terms of revenue. So, what is the revenue that we are getting? It is 80 lakhs. What is the cost that we are incurring? It is 20 lakhs. So 80 lakhs minus 20 lakhs, what is that? That is 60 lakhs. So we are getting a incremental value of 60 lakhs revenue of 60 lakhs. And what is the cost that we incurred? It is in the marketing campaign, overall cost of marketing and sales is 20 lakhs. So we are getting 80 lakhs revenue for a campaign. We can attribute 80 lakhs revenue which can be attributed to 20 lakhs of advertisement in the marketing campaign. So 80 lakhs minus 20 lakhs, which is 60 lakhs, divided by the cost becomes your return on investment. So it is 300%. In this particular case, if I calculate the return on investment in terms of revenue, then it is 300%. So how do I interpret this particular phenomenon? For every 1 rupee that I spend, the firm gets back 4 rupees, or in terms of revenue we are getting 4 rupees, and in terms of let's say we are calculating in terms of profit, then it is we are getting a profit of 3 rupees. 1 rupee spent in advertisement, we are getting 3 rupees as profit. Remember, at this particular stage we are not considering the cost of operation. Whenever you are running the certification program, you have to probably pay the instructor, you will also need to pay the associated staffs in running the program. So that particular part is not taken into consideration, but whenever we do a detailed calculation, probably those factors needs to be taken into consideration. Now see, whenever we acquire a particular customer, the value that can be created from the customer is not calculated just for one transaction. We have already mentioned this particular point. There is a rule in business. We should concentrate more on our valued customer as compared to acquiring new customers. We have already seen that customer acquisition has a cost. But what if I can keep serving my existing customers repeatedly? Isn't it a better proposition? First time I incur a customer acquisition cost. Next time onwards, I do not need to advertise for the product to that customers. Next time I do not need to do a counseling to the customer. Next time I do not need to conduct a webinar for that customers. What I can do? I can either repeat sell the same thing. In this particular context, repeat sell is not possible because we are talking about a certification program. But definitely we can do upselling. But for some other products which is regularly used, the repeat sale is quite possible without incurring any acquisition cost. So rather than calculating the value that can be attributed to the first single transaction, we are trying to attribute the value that can be generated from an average customer over a period of time, or over a period of the lifetime of the customers. So what is the lifetime of the customer is not the literal lifespan of the customer person, rather it is the time duration on which between the first transaction or first exposure of the customer to my brand and the last purchase of the customers from my brand. So this is called the customer's lifetime with the brand. So let's have a look at various assumptions in the context of this situation. What is the certification fees? It is 40,000 rupees. Let us consider that on an average we can upsell, I mean let's say we can sell a advanced module or advanced course to the same set of customers, and that advanced module cost you 20,000 rupees. And what is the probability of upselling? Let's say it is 40%. Means out of 2.5 persons who is taking this initial course, 1 person will take the advanced module as well. Or I can say that if there are 5 persons who is taking the introductory course, out of these 5 persons, 2 persons will also enroll themselves for the advanced module, and the cost of the advanced module course is 20,000. Probability of upsell is 40%, and that's how out of 5 it is 2. Let's say the gross margin is 70%. Gross margin means there will be an incurred cost, let's say in terms of payment to the instructor, in terms of other operational cost of the infrastructure, cost of the let's say conducting the classes, etc. So gross margin is 70%. Now what is the expected revenue from a single customer that is derived from a advertisement? It is not just 40,000, because now we are not just considering on the initial transaction value, we are considering on the lifetime transaction value by the same customer. So, in terms of revenue, in the initial this one transaction they will get 40,000 rupees, and for the advanced module for an average customers they will derive 8,000 rupees, because probability is 40% and 40% of 20,000 is 8,000. So, an average customer will give you 48,000 rupees over his or her lifespan. Now, we also said that gross margin is 70%. Now, we will calculate the customer's lifetime value in terms of profitability. So, gross margin is 70%, that is why 48,000 multiplied by 0.7, it gives you 33,600 rupees. So, for each of this candidate, not each, I mean from an average candidate, how much profit I am deriving? It is 33,600 rupees. And what is the cost incurred for acquiring one individual candidate? It was 10,000 rupees. Now, CLV versus CAC ratio, that is important. So, in this particular case, what is the CLV versus CAC ratio? CLV means customer's lifetime value and CAC means customer acquisition cost. So, value customer lifetime value that I am getting is 33,600 rupees. If one person is enrolled, from an average person, I am getting a profit of 33,600 rupees after deducting the operational cost. That is why we said that gross margin is 70%. So, 33,600 rupees. Now, for getting a single candidate, what was the cost incurred in terms of customer acquisition cost? It was 10,000 rupees. So, the ratio of CLV to CAC is 33,600 divided by 10,000. So, that is 3.36 divided by 1. What does it refer? How can I interpret this particular fact? For every 1 rupees I spend on a marketing campaign, I am getting a incremental value or profit of 3.36 rupees over the lifespan of the customer. We may also calculate it in terms of net present value if required. Let us say the advanced module is sold, let us say 3 years down the line. So, what will be the today's value of 20,000 rupees that I will get 3 years down the line. So, that can be taken into consideration, but for the sake of simplicity at this particular stage we are only calculating it in absolute terms. So, by rule of thumb, what is considered healthy? Healthy and scalable business model. So, if you have a ratio of 3:1 or more, for every rupee spent in advertisement campaign, if you are deriving more than 3 rupees as profit, then in that case it is worth investing in that particular campaign. Otherwise, I mean sometimes even if it is 2:1, it is profitable, but extent of profitability is not that high. So, if it is more than 3, then firm can increase and spend safely. Otherwise, there are certain aspects probably that needs to be relooked into. So, benchmark is 3:1. Let us also try to understand the funnel leakage phenomenon in this particular situation. So, funnel leakage is, in the last class only we discussed why it is called a funnel. We said that we lost a lot of customers as we move from, let us say, awareness to interest stage, interest to consideration stage, consideration to our conversion stage and till loyalty. So, for example, awareness stage, 1 lakh people has become aware about my product. Now, only 10%, that is 10,000 people will show interest on my product. Out of this 10,000 people, only 2,000 people will show, I mean consider my product over other products, or they are still evaluating between my product and other products. So, out of this 2,000, though I will try to make a proper appeal to these people, still only let us say 10%, that is 200 people will purchase my product. So, though it was exposed to 1 lakh people, the number of customers that I got is 200. Now, again out of these 200 people, some of them will be satisfied with my product after uses and some of will be dissatisfied. So, dissatisfied customers will churn from my brand. So, out of this 200, let us say 150 will repeat the purchase and 50% will switch to other brand. So, if I look at from 1 lakh to 10,000, from 10,000 to 2,000, from 2,000 to 200 and from 200 to 150, I am just retaining 150 persons, though my marketing initiative was exposed to 1 lakh persons. So, at each of these stages we are losing a significant number of customers. So, this loss is called a leakage. There is a leakage at each of the stages of the funnel. So, from the perspective of this particular example, let us have a look at the leakage percentage at each of the stages. So, what was the impression? It was 2 lakhs. So, impression to visit, but how many have clicked through that particular this one post? It is only 10,000. So, only 5%. 5% of 2 lakhs is 10,000. Now, from visits to leads, out of this 10,000, how many have signed up for the program or how many have looked for more information regarding the program? From 10,000, we got the lead of only 2,000. So, it is just the 20%. So, the transitions from visit to leads, it is just 20%, and in that particular transition we lost 8,000 potential customers or 8,000 persons. Then ultimately out of this 2,000 people, how many got enrolled into the program? Most of them left. 90% of the customers whom we considered as a lead, they left. Probably they did another course from another vendor or they did not even pursue any course. We do not know that, but only we could enroll 10% of the customers. That is, the conversion rate from leads to enrollment is just 10%. Now, why this understanding the leakage is important? Because if we can do certain set of improvement in this transition phases, our business can have multifolds improvement in terms of return on investment. Let us just look at this one. If we can do certain intervention through which we can improve the number of leads to enrollment ratio from 10 to 12% only 2%. You can just recalculate the values, what will be the ROI, what will be the CAC is to CLV values. As of now it is 1 is to 3.36, but if it becomes 12%, if this particular last particular we do certain intervention in converting the leads to enrollment and we are improving it from 10 to 12%, what is the number of customers that we are getting? It is 240, earlier it was 200. So, you can just calculate the finances, 240 multiplied by this one 40,000. So, what is the value that we are getting is 96 lakhs, right. And now, this 240 and rest of the values remain the same, then also 40% of this 240 persons will also get enrolled in our advanced course. So, we got an incremental value in the initial enrollment, we will also derive some additional value, 40% probability that in the advanced course also we will be able to enroll them. Only thing is that what we have to do, we have to conduct or we have to initiate an intervention in converting the leads to enrollment and we have to improve it from 10% to 12%. So, I am pretty sure, I am not doing that calculation again, the CAC is to CLV ratio will rise to probably more than 4. So, that will have a huge business implication. So, what I will do, you can just this one take this as a homework, instead of 10% you consider it as 12% and calculate the return on investment and also calculate the CAC and CLV ratio and probably we can discuss about the implications of these updated values in one of our live sessions. You can bring these implications to me and probably we can discuss and what is the impact in the overall business. So, with this I conclude today's sessions. I will see you in the next class with a new topic. Thank you.